This is the inside of my ARP Pro DGX Mark 1. I'll tell you why I have it apart in a minute, but one of the funny things about synthesizers and Genesis fans and stuff, I'm going to be nice, there's a lot of blowhards who claim one thing or the other, and the thing that I've always seen is that the ARP Pro DGX is terrible compared to the Pro Soloist because of the filter. And I'm just going to show you. I didn't do this. This is how it came. There's the 4034 made in USA. So mine does have the filter. But doesn't mean that these are not built like toys and fall apart a lot. And as I was playing a show Saturday night in front of a sold out crowd, the key bed started wiggling during cinema show, and I was like, oh my God. And if you're familiar with the 1976 set list, that's within the first half hour. But it's the one that gets a real big workout after Dancing on a Volcano. So I gotta have it home now. I took the back off, and then this was floating around, and that's where it's supposed to go. So I'm going to put that in when I get a nut driver. But just to kind of show you other things that have happened, this board was loose. I put these on here, these little weird washers, recently because the nuts had come off. They were floating around. This came loose, and you couldn't select presets. And maybe that's typical of an almost 50-year-old synth. Since I've owned it, I've had the power supply rebuilt. I had a new touch sensitivity strip put in by a company that I don't think exists anymore, New England Analog. So one of the things to know about these is that I've had like cables blocking connections, things that slipped. So get these things at your own risk, because they do come apart like anything. I think these were built to sit on top of old ladies' organs in homes. It wasn't really meant to be like a roadworthy synth. So it does pay to open it up more than I have and tighten everything. Even the back, it's made of like particle board. I used to have jigsaw puzzles. I was probably 4 years old when this was made. And I used to have like cardboard puzzles with this kind of jigsaw puzzles with this kind of particle board for the pieces, like it'd be a map of the United States. And there's a little peg, and you pulled it out, and it told you what the capital was. So, it's kind of a weird elements they use. And I just have put these foam pads on so it stays on top of the Krumar organ and doesn't slide around. I did have something I don't talk about. I did have a later Pro DGX. In the 90s, a drummer that I was in a band with just came to rehearsal with 2 suitcases like, hey, my neighbor gave me these, they don't work. And one was an ARP Axe and one was an ARP Pro DGX, but it was the black and orange one. That thing weighed a ton and was made of metal. And that probably didn't have the 4034 filter. But what's cool about this one, I mentioned this in my video but didn't show the back. So you've got a high output if you're going direct. Doesn't help me because I use volume pedals. I wish, man, wouldn't it be cool if I had a volume pedal with a XLR? And then there's a portamento foot switch, which is handy for things like cinema show. The that E minor 7 thing. But I just flip it like Tony did because his original Pro Soloist did not have the foot switch. And it's one less thing to set up. So I'm going to put this back together, and I'm sure it will work. I hope you enjoyed this look inside a cheesy little synthesizer. Okay, my Pro DGX is back together, and looks like it's working well. Just to kind of step you through my diagnostic. So I'm playing Dancing on a Volcano live. Maybe I didn't notice this during sound check, or maybe it came loose at that moment. But at some point, I'm doing this. right? Aftertouch, and the key bed is moving at maybe like a 20-degree angle, and that starts freaking me out, right? Then we get done Lamb Stew, and I've got to do Cinema Show. I've got to play all those hard guitar parts. And I'm like, great, what's gonna happen? And then, so it's already moving around a bit. And then I have to switch to mute trumpet. And when you switch the presets, you hit the 2 keys. You know? And then when you do steel guitar, you've got to press these 2 buttons. Well, I press these. Let me see if I can recreate this. I'm telling you, I went to hit these, and here's the cancel button. None of them were lit up. And I start going, and I'm like, oh God. And then I've got to lift my hand, go back to this, and jump back into this, scale, whatever it is. It didn't matter. That's better than I did it the other night. And then, so that's disconcerting in the middle of a show. And then I just kept hoping, like, all the pitch bend songs, Squonk, Los Endos. Oh man, that was nerve-wracking. But I think I fixed it. Key bed's not moving. The preset is changing. I'll never be able to recreate that. But I went like that, and then there were literally no lights, and it was terrifying. Can you tell that I do not like this synth? When the Genesis show retires, I will sell this to the highest bidder, and I will put it on this channel, because I'm sure a lot of you would love this more than me.